Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and Truth Bomb Tony, he's back. Sorry for a slight delay, but I think we both got busy, and then Truth Bomb came down with the dreaded C, won't say the word. But good to see you back and in fighting fit. Good to see you, Tony. Welcome back to Small Caps.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And some of our fans are saying, well, where the bloody hell are you? And life gets in the way, and the big C got in the way. Luckily, me and Juliana got it at the same time. So I'm going to come to the Gold Conference and smash it out of the park with total immunity, which is great, I believe.
Yeah, well, that's not long to go before that comes up. So you'll be coming over for that now that Australia seems to be opened up at last.
Yeah, looking forward to be MC Hammer. The last time I got to meet real people at a Gold Conference was October 2019.
Unbelievable, isn't it? 3 years. My goodness. I'm so excited. I can't tell you. So excited. Look, for those that are wondering what the hell we're talking about, it's the Australian Gold Conference. Is happening on June the 14th and 15th at Crown Barangaroo in Sydney. Tony, as if he likes to now call himself MC Hammer, will be the MC of one of the sessions at the conference, and he'll be there for the full 2 days. So if you want to have a chat, find out what his ideas are, meet him in person, and find out what he thinks is going on right now, then go to goldevents.com.au and book your tickets. Only a few left because we've got to keep the numbers tight.
I feel like Kid Leroy, but I promise I won't cancel.
You better not cancel. I'll talk to you about that later. What was I going to say? So let's talk about something I don't really want to talk about, but I guess it's like the elephant in the room. Let's just put it on the table. Looks like I'm going to have to buy a bottle of champagne because Truth Bomb Tony's been saying for a while, be careful, the bubble will burst. I'm not certain, but you're saying, yep, bubbles burst, interest rates are on the way up, and they're not going to stop anytime soon, and house prices are going to start to fall.
The everything bubble has burst, and here is my elephant in the room. It's a bronze elephant I've had since the age of 6. So there you go. Look, I would request that you change from Verve to Mum champagne.
No worries. Why?
I just got used to Mum, and if you chuck a strawberry in, it's just divine. So.
Well, you can forget the strawberries. I'll go the mum, but I won't. Oh.
Yeah.
There we go. So I like Verve, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you were thinking of covering the conference and buying some Verve for me. And Tony likes mum. There we go. So mum it is. I'll get you a bottle of mum. Maybe I should present it to you at the conference. We'll think about that. Depends on whether I've got any spare cash.
Yeah, well, the everything bubble, I hate to say the everything bubble has burst. The RBA on the 7th of June is going to lift rates probably by 40 basis points, get it up to 0.75. And it's not a happy time in Australia at all. We got Albanese in. They helped that immigrant family, which was good.
Yeah,
Jim Chalmers speaks very well. Penny Wong's doing a thing, but they're not going to save this country from some very ugly times. And this rate rise is going to knock us around, and they're saying between 2 and 2.5%, and that's not good for any market. And I follow realestate.com and Domain just out of interest, and people are starting to drop these prices hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they cannot catch a bid. And it's starting to feel like probably, similar to what the dot-com bubble was when you had to hit bids down lower. So it's going to get very ugly. I wish I could deliver better news to viewers, Kerry, but it is what it is. And people say, Truth Bomb Tony, you're a broken record. Well, I've got to commentate on what's happening, and it's happening now. And a lot of, we had a bit of a hammering in the lithium stocks. Luckily, they recovered. Goldman Sachs came out and said the bubble's over. I did the wrong thing and got onto financial forums, and they're saying that Goldman Sachs have manipulated the price lower to buy stocks. No, that's wrong, because Goldman Sachs has many parts. It's like the octopus. But so lithium stocks smashed. Don't get me started on crypto. Sadly, a lot of people lost their life savings in Luna, and you've got over 13,000 shit coins, as everyone calls them, and it's just a Ponzi scheme, and it's unraveling just like it did in January 2018.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on some things. Yes, I agree that there are a lot of so-called coins out there that are not worthy of people investing in, and you couldn't call it an investment, you'd call it a speculation. And some people, yes, they caught the upswing on it and did okay, but those that came in late, they got burnt pretty badly. However, I do still think that there is a place for digital coins, digital crypto, whatever you want to call it, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, which has a practical purpose in a digital world. So, you might say the whole of crypto is a Ponzi scheme. I would say, yes, there are a number out of the thousands of coins out there. Yeah, there are a number that is pure speculation rather than investment. But in diversification, I think that there are some that are okay. And yes, Bitcoin is fallen from its highs quite substantially, but that's what it does. That's the way Bitcoin, it almost shakes out the weak hands. And I guess the question I have for you is, if all of this challenging times is upon us, what are you suggesting that your clients do right now? Move to cash, get out of the stock market? I mean, that is this, or stick in there and ride the downward trend, and eventually it will recover?
Well, that is a great question. And what I want to reiterate is that out of every fad, there's some genuine companies. Like, we will have some genuine lithium companies. We will have some genuine silica sand companies. We will have some genuine ammonium companies. In the past, we've had, during the uranium bubble, a few companies got into production. And even back, there was a lithium bubble in 2008 where you only had 2 stocks to choose from instead of 400. So there will be winners, and I've got no doubts that people will continue to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., and Dogecoin. I think Dogecoin is about 8 cents now. Elon Musk tweeted that it'd get to $1, and that's good financial advice. Now, what I'm doing with my clients is, I've been advising people for 24 years. I block out as much noise as possible. I buy small companies that become bigger ones. It's never let me down. I've been bashed around recently. My biotech portfolio has been poleaxed. I've got out my ammunition. I've bought quite a few more, and now I've just got to sit and wait, maybe take up golf, maybe not look at the screen every couple of minutes, but I'm here to babysit those numbers. But yeah, I always go, there's always going to be exploration companies that make a discovery, Kerry, and they overshoot. Look at Galileo.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I had a couple of clients in there, 22 cents to $1.95, managed to ring up a client at $1.90 and say, sell some. So I stick with the best ASX explorers on the market. We will hold them whilst they're cheap, and when they're not cheap, we'll sell them. So I stick to exploration. So I've got my favorites. I stick to my core biotech stocks, which are all misbehaving at the moment because of this dreaded tax loss selling.
Yeah, but is it just that? Because the biotech sector has been smashed for, it's not just tax loss selling, it's been in the doldrums for quite some time. And I want to ask you, how do the companies batter their way out of such a tough market? How do they survive in such a tough market when people are not that interested and the prices seem to have come right off?
Well, what you can do is manage your capital requirements. The biggest risk at the moment is raising capital at the lows. So, but companies will survive this. I've been through some gold companies that have raised money at stupid cheap levels and still delivered. So if the fundamentals are intact, they will deliver. but I've just seen some of the most stupid selling. I mean, cue the Benny Hill theme song, where fundamentals have just been thrown out. You're going to have market depth capitulation, which is where the buy side just gets whacked and then other people sell because that generates fear. And you've got about 10 seconds to get your buying on. So I've got that as well. But if you look at what some of these biotech companies are doing, they're doing absolutely nothing wrong. And it's just the crowd going wild, and then people turn against each other. And you've got all these ASX cult stocks where people blame others. They want to.
What's an ASX cult stock?
Cult stocks. I don't want to mention them, but I can read on Twitter, I can read on financial forums where people are in love with these stocks. They want to hold $1, $3, $5 parties. They all want to buy Teslas, but they're all massively overvalued, and eventually they unravel. So I got to know cult stocks back in 1997, and I continually lost money on them. But I'll be honest with you, if you're able to get out of that cult, these stocks are some of the most profitable on the market. So, there's no friends when it comes to money. When people break ranks, it gets very ugly. And at the moment, I'm just saying, well, when is this bombardment of selling going to stop? Because I'm running out of ammo to buy them all. But I know in the end, this method over 24 years has never let me down. And a big drill hole in any market. I mean, I go back to when Minotaur Gold made that discovery, or Sirius, or Sandfire. Galileo had no friends, and then suddenly it's popular. So I just stick to my guns, Kerry. And I should make it perfectly clear that I promised a course, 2 courses, that has been launched. I've already taught my first lot of young people about finance. They got to know the band Pearl Jam, every member, when I called it part of that wealth creation and wealth preservation. But I'm here to teach people 25, 24 years of experience. But you just got to stick to your script.
Do you know what's interesting, Tony? You say that you're teaching the young people about finance. How absolutely disgraceful is it that we don't, as a country, we don't teach this at schools? We don't teach them about finance. We don't teach them about budgeting. We don't teach them about the basics. And then people, when they get older, get into trouble. They spend on the most ridiculous things. They don't invest. They buy things that get devalued over time, and wonder why come retirement they're struggling a little bit. Now, I'm not criticizing per se, but I kind of am, in that I think that it's time people understood money. So congratulations for doing that. I think it's brilliant. Maybe you need to make it even bigger. So that's key. People need to understand finance. So well done. What do you think? There's been a lot of talk at the moment about rare earths, a lot of companies coming out saying, oh, we've suddenly found a rare earth project. Is this another bubbly type stock, like everyone's just getting on the bandwagon because it's the latest fad?
Oh, of course it's a fad. There's one stock that's probably around 50 cents, Arafura.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Is that 50 cents now?
Thereabouts. I saw it at 48, 49. And funny thing is, Kerry, in 2003, they flew me to Alice Springs, and I walked over that project. And then Arafura went to, it was about $2.66 equivalent in the uranium bubble, because they had uranium on that tenement, and they spun out their uranium asset, New Power, which went to $1.66, and that stock went all the way sub 10 cents, and now everyone wants it. So that's 19 years that stock's been in the wilderness. And I got to stay at the casino there, and I was guest of Arafura. So some of these things can take a lot of time, but let's be honest, a lot of these companies are simply jumping on the bandwagon.
And that's where people have to be careful.
Well, everyone piles in. There's lots of keywords. Canada seems to be the place of choice, which is a good, safe country with reasonable gun laws. But yeah, it's a bandwagon. I remember the bandwagons back to .com, retractable syringe bandwagons. We even had childcare centre bandwagons and eggs, milk. So very few companies come out of a fad and generate wealth for shareholders. Most of them are broken dreams. They become cult stocks. It's like you're playing a poker machine, waiting for the next mini jackpot. And a lot of these, sadly, are going to lose 80% of their value. And that's guaranteed, Kerry. It's guaranteed.
Wow. All right.
Well, that's how the market works. And, I sit there behind a screen. I was involved in .com. I was doing $120,000 a month commission off $60 tickets. Go figure. It was madness. And are you saying that it came out of that?
Are you saying that this is like the .com bubble? Because I don't think it's quite the same, is it?
Well, it's spread across multiple fad sectors. So people are buying, EV revolutions. Yes, I get it. But if you look at what Goldman came out and said about lithium, they're expecting the price to collapse pretty much next year and recover thereafter. But these fads, they're all the friggin' same. I've seen it all. I've seen people blow up. I've seen...
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that governments around the world are turning around and mandating the fact that these ICE, internal combustion engines, are not going to be on the table, and that EVs are here to stay. So you can't tell me that that the lithium price is going to collapse and not be around anymore, because the lithium market, there's just not enough supply, because for many, many years, there's not been enough investment into the commodities sector. And there is a shift, whatever way we want to look at it, there is a shift to the electronic vehicles and battery storage. And that's a fact. And there is not enough supply. So I'm not quite sure I agree with, and I know Goldman Sachs, very, very smart people, but I just don't see how that works, given unless we're all going to go back and live in caves.
Well, they've forecast the lithium price to drop from $53,000 to $16,000. So obviously they have some insights into the supply. There's about 83 kilos of copper in an electric vehicle, and the copper price is still going to be volatile. We've got forecasts of $15,000 a tonne copper. It's about 9.5 at the moment.
No, so somebody came out just recently and said 50 to 100,000 for copper.
Well, what have they been smoking, I wonder?
I've got a report. I haven't read the report yet, Tony, but someone sent me a report which is given, and next time we chat, I'll make sure I've read it. But it was talking about how there is massive lack of supply in copper at the moment.
Well, a lot of copper is 4,000 metres above sea level and is under 1%. So that is going to be an ongoing theme. And if you've got 85 kilos of copper going into each vehicle, but it's still going to be volatile and people are still going to lose money on overhyped copper stocks. And
now, I know that you like Chris Cairns, though, and they've got a project down in Victoria, the Staveley Minerals. Well, what do you think of that? That's copper and gold.
Well, I watched Chris present. He said, I've been drilling this thing for 2.5 years. They're going to have a resource on it shortly, followed by a scoping study. But that stock is absolutely friendless. We're involved in the initial discovery, which was 2019, just before your last gold conference. And it went to $1.45. Since then, it's now 31, 32. So it's the red-headed stepchild of the copper space at the moment, Kerry, unfortunately.
Yeah, but do you think that'll come back? Like it'll stop being the red-headed child?
Well, it has to, because there's value in a copper project, multi-decade potentially operation in Victoria. And the same things happened to Charlie Bass and Eagle Mountain, $1.40 down to 30 odd cents.
Yeah.
I mean, the market has gone for the fads. It's gone for the quick buck, early gratification, and the real companies have been left behind. And that's where I focus. That's where my clients eventually we'll start to see returns. And I actually called my course Surviving and Thriving in Speculation, because you need to survive to get that Powerball win. And there's lots of scams, lots of BS being spread by celebrities, all these models, anyone with a basic charting package, and it sucks you in. And that's why people revert to joining cults. I mean, the gullibility of humans, it's just infinite.
Well, look, it is infinite, but Tony, we did speak about gold earlier. You've mentioned in the past that you like companies like Pac Gold and a couple of others. Gold sector is a little bit unloved as well. It's a bit of a contrarian investment at the moment. Bit of talk about second half of this year, there will be a flight to safety in gold. Talk to me about what you think about gold and silver at the moment.
Well, at the moment, gold's dancing sideways about 1850. I love silver. Someone sent me an article, and I went back to 2011 when it went to $48 an ounce. So I think silver can have a massive run. I think we need more M&A in the gold sector. I look at the prices of Northern Star, Evolution, Ramilius, Regis. They've all been whacked, but they're going to be paying good dividends. The Australian gold price is just under 2,600. I think we're going to see corporate activity where these companies have to replenish resources. You've got De Grey, which have got 8.5 million ounces, which is huge.
Amazing.
But that's going to be the subject of corporate activity, perhaps. And then you're going to see takeovers in the juniors as well. So I look at the results Mako Gold comes out with. It can't break through 10 cents, but it's building resources. And once you build 1 million ounces, you can be valued between $80 and $120 an ounce. And that's what happened with Oklo. They got taken out at $130 an ounce in Mali. So build the resources and they shall come.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned Oklo Resources, because Simon Taylor, the managing director, I spoke to him after the takeover and I said, do you still want to come to the gold conference? Because there's a takeover going on. And what he said to me was, he said, actually, I'd like to come and do a presentation on what it takes to get into production, whether that's a takeover. So he won't be talking necessarily about the company, but really good information for investors looking at how to understand this market a little bit more, which I think is wonderful.
Oh, that's great of him. I've known Simon for many years. And I think during a session, one of my clients said, should I go to conferences? Well, the answer to that is a resounding yes, because I remember going to the Noosa conference and Gold Road was about 5 cents and was the standout. So if you get to meet people, you get to meet fellow investors, and, speculation, the stock market, it's got to be fun. And I think conferences are a good way to get a free lunch, free champagne, and to learn about companies, because there's always going to be the lotto win in one of those booths. So you just got to find it.
Yeah, and look, we should do a shout out to Nicholas Reed, the guys at Reed Corporate. They've got their Resources Rising Stars conference here on the Gold Coast next week, Tony. My goodness, there's a lot coming up. And then vertical events the week after the gold one, and of course, Noosa in July. So there's plenty for people. And I agree with you. The best way to understand is to talk to other investors, but also to meet the management face to face. I think you can't get any better than that. We haven't been able to do it for a couple of years.
No, and it's good. It's good that I'm getting back on the circuit. It's good fun, and no doubt there's going to be some winners there. And both Pac Gold and Far East Gold will be there
at the Gold Conference.
Yeah, we're as full as a state school in both those stocks, and they are two of my favourite exploration stories on the ASX. And I think management in each of those companies is fantastic, and they're going to buy me a beer. They're going to buy me a free beer at your conference. What
about Southern Cross Gold? They had a massive hit down in, because they only listed mid-May. Here we are talking mid-June, and they had a massive hit, and off they went to the races as well, so to speak.
Oh, massive trading activity. So that went out of Mawson. So that was a new entrant, bang, straight down the guts of it. And I guess there's a lot of traders that will jump on these stocks that have a pulse. So you've got to work out how much of that is genuine investment or flipping it for pips here and there. But yeah, too true. It's exploration gets greed going, and greed needs to make a return in the resources sector.
How's your Maronan going? Because you were pretty hot on that, and it seems to have is that gone a bit quiet, or am I just not seeing very much there?
It's gone quiet because they're not drilling yet, and people paid 20 cents for the IPO, and they're happy to sell around 35. I'm buying shares. I'm addicted to buying shares, and I bought myself enough to get on that top 20. And I gave my kids an interest-free loan to buy the stock, which means they've got zero interest in paying me back the money. But to me, that is the best exploration stock on the market, with the bonus of 100 million ounces of silver. So when they come for silver, that's going to be the one.
Righto, Tony, let's wrap it all up, because if you want to meet Tony in person, come to the Gold Conference on the 14th and 15th of June. Go to goldevents.com.au. Tony, wrap it up in a nice bow for us and tell us the 3 things that you think people should be doing right now in this crazy time, apart from me having to find that bottle of mum for you.
Look at your personal finances. Bloody COVID. I've just got the tail end of it. Sorry, I was holding on, not coughing.
Sorry, Tony.
I've been holding on for so long. It's like busting to go to the toilet. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, audience. I couldn't hold on any longer.
So 3 things. Look after your finances.
Yeah, look after your finances. Start researching some of these companies. Look at the presentations, and just enjoy the markets at the moment, because this is where you're going to have the life-changing opportunities. In cases they destroy you as well, there's multiple upside to be had in both biotechs and junior resources at the moment, and there's some great value around. So look for value and don't fall in love with the rubbish.
And you can come and talk to Tony at the Gold Conference. Good to see you, Tony. Thanks for joining me today. See you in 10 days' time.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Kerry.